baby? It's your boy KD. And many of you may remember when I released this video a few days ago of this hit and run turned fatal when a bunch of guys were standing in the street. Well, apparently, this was a hit and run in Chicago. Yes, a hit and run in Chicago. And apparently, this guy here, offender charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder, attempted murder. Travis Dunbar of the 700 block of South Emerald Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. And he is charged with 3 felony counts: murder first degree, 1 felony count, attempt murder first degree. Central Bond Court, 2600 South, California, August 23rd, 2022. That was yesterday. Travis Dunbar is a 34-year-old so-called black man. And the narrative here is that the above offender was arrested on August 22nd, just this past Monday, 2022, in the 5100 block of South Wentworth. He was identified as the offender who, on August 14th, 2022, drove a vehicle and intentionally struck several pedestrians in the 700 block of South Jeffrey Boulevard, 3rd District. 3 victims, a 23-year-old male, a 25-year-old male, and a 27-year-old male were killed. A 4th victim, a 21-year-old male, was also injured. The offender surrendered to police, at which time he was placed into custody and charged accordingly. No additional information is available at this time. You know what gets me is, as we look at pictures here, you know what gets me? It's very interesting to me that individuals like this, in the moment, don't accept what they've done. They don't step up and say, hey, I'm wrong. I did wrong. Because we're talking about something fatal here. The way this man ran through these people like bowling pins, it's asinine. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's inhumane. I mean, when I first saw this, I said, tell me this dude is intoxicated. Tell me this dude wasn't sober. Tell me this dude had to been bat crazy out of his mind. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of these guys, you just never know what it is that triggers them. They're controlled by some button and out of nowhere, boom, they just do something like this to act an absolute fool. And then days later, this happened on the 14th, and you turn yourself over to authorities this week. 14th was the 14th was just, this past Sunday that passed. You know what I'm saying? Well, a couple of Sundays that passed ago, because this past Sunday was the 21st. So you actually let a whole week and some go by. And I'm going to tell you, people really don't take things seriously. You know how I know people don't take things seriously? Because the scriptures tell us that the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. He's a just God. And I tell people all the time, just the fact that you hear the phrase or the title Antichrist ought to let you know that there's always a counterfeit or an Antichrist of what God is, of what Christ is. And so the Antichrist of a God who can see everything, good and evil, is all of these cameras that want to be the all-knowing eye, to see all evil, to hear all evil. There's places where, they hide cameras in trees and all kind of stuff in parks. The technology has come a long way, too far for you to think that you could just be doing whatever. And I'm going to tell you, very, very, very sad situation, because you can think you're getting away with something and you are not. Now, there is a a Facebook site or Facebook page, Chi-Town Crime Chasers, CCC, is at 26 in California Cook County Jail. This particular page in heavy caps says captured. And this was posted actually yesterday sometime, once he was captured on the 23rd, yesterday, Tuesday. Chicago police has made an arrest for the tragic hit and run murders of 23-year-old Jalen Ausley, 25-year-old Donald Huey, and 27-year-old Devontae Vivetter. Now that's three of the gentlemen those were the ones that were all murdered. Police says 34-year-old Travis Dunbar was behind the wheel of a silver sedan after two viral disturbing videos captured him plowing his vehicle into four people in the middle of the street in front of a gay bar on 70th and Jeffrey on August 14th at the very high rate of speed and kept going. Now, I don't know how significant they want that to be, to throw that in front of, as in front of a gay bar. I don't know these guys' sexual orientation, anything like that. It's a little zesty something going on, But at the end of the day, I don't know if there's some significance or why they're trying to, throw that out there or whatever, but I hope this wasn't some sort of hate crime, because this is why I say again, when I first saw the video, I saw these gentlemen in the street and they looked like they was having a quarrel, a confrontation, altercation. Looked like it was some fights going on with them or some arguments going on with them. And in the midst of it all, this guy just plows through them. And I'm saying to myself, was this one of the guys that we have no idea, because this is a silent camera that just catching things? I had an individual that I know one time. He was getting ready to go to court with his ex-wife, and his children were all in the car. And he had no idea when he walked into the store. I mean, he said he went to a Target because he wanted to get some cash back. Target's machines were down, and so he couldn't get cash back. So he said, you know what, let me go to this other grocery store that's going to be right by the laundromat, because that was the whole point. He wanted change for laundry. It's like, you know what, there's one more store on the way, so I might as well just get my change there, try to get hit two birds, trying to get out the way with the Target, but didn't have a chance. So he said, you know what, I got one more chance. And ironically, don't even know if you want to say ironically or if this is just how it was supposed to happen, but God knew, obviously, he didn't, she didn't, that he and his ex-wife were going to end up in the same store when he stopped at that second store, that grocery store. This is the thing. He had no idea that he had walked past his children sitting in the car by themselves. They were sitting in the car, and these are young children. But they saw their daddy. It's like, man, that's daddy. You know what I'm saying? So the children called the mom in the store. Meanwhile, in the store, the guy's trying to figure out how to dodge the mother, the ex-wife, because he realized he saw her. And they had a really bad back and forth that was leading them to court, so he didn't want to have any confrontation with her. And he waited it out and ended up watching her walk out of the store. So he gave it some time, went and did what he had to do, not even realizing that his children were in that car. She wasn't by herself, even though she was by herself in the car, in the store. She appeared to be by herself in the store. She actually wasn't. She had left all those children in the car. And so when he went out, she's screaming out his name, Tony, Tony. And he realized it as he just kept walking, because, again, this man is a bigger man trying to avoid confrontation. Walking to his car, straight beeline. She's running up on this man like she gonna run, stop, and pop him or something. And he just turns around and he looks at her, he's like, and he still doesn't say anything. He's just looking at her like, what are you doing? Why would you run up on somebody like that? I'm telling all of this story because he acted maturely, understanding the room, reading the room. Number one, he didn't realize his children were in the car. He didn't purposely pass them. He didn't purposely ignore them. But of course, the mother was saying all this crazy stuff, and you're a deadbeat, and who ignores their children, blah, 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 blah. He had no idea. And by the time he meets you and realizes you're still around, he is doing everything he can to avoid you, because that's the point, ma'am. You're so toxic. I need to stay away from you. My children aren't the issue. You are. And so he gets in the car. He just drives on away, and she's texting him and saying all this different stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, you handled that amazing. That was amazing how you handled that. And I gave that story to say this. As I said to you before, these cameras are everywhere. You don't understand what they're picking up. And that's why I suggest to you, if you got to meet a baby mama or ex-wife or whatever, meet them at the police station. Meet them in an open parking lot. When they're trying to do everything to keep from meeting you in a public place, that's a problem. Don't trust that. Don't trust somebody trying to meet you at a park and this, that, other, and they want to secretly record you and try to put it on Facebook. Just all kind of stupid stuff that people do because they're toxic, they're evil, they're immature. Do everything you can to avoid shenanigans, because in the time we're living in right now with all this high price, gas prices, inflation, food barely being in these stores because semi-trucks cannot reach them, shipments cannot reach them because of what's going on across the country, in the country. You got to be more vigilant out here. You don't know what the spirit is of the person that you're passing or brushing shoulders with, or even somebody checking you out at a freaking store. Depending on the spirit they have, they could really act a whole fool on you, and it can cost you your life, let alone getting to this situation here where these individuals, and I've talked about this many times, being a route driver, seeing young men like this hanging out in front of grocery stores, gas stations, liquor stores. And there's so many things like this that I would see in Inglewood, Illinois, in Chicago. Inglewood, they call it, where Derrick Rose came up. So many little shenanigans I would see all over Chicago and even all over Indiana, because young men had no intention for their movement or their whereabouts. What you doing today? I don't even know. I don't know, cuz I'm just gonna go out, and you're just gonna hang around and sit around, and you see all kinds of things. I done seen women hanging with these guys outside these. I saw the craziest thing I ever saw outside of some Sherm heads was a woman climbing up a stop sign, talks and doing strip moves, flipped herself upside down and all this in front of a group of guys like this that just got ran over and just shaking booty, clapping cheeks. And I said, this is not really going on. And I couldn't get my camera out fast enough because I would have scrutinized. But I say all this to say, man, you got to be vigilant with your intentions, man, because if you just out here, I'm just outside is open. Now, outside need to be closed because y'all don't know what to do with your time. And if there's no intention about your movements, that's how people end up dead. Hit and runs, drive-bys, altercations where people jump you, fight you, whatever, and it ends up fatal. You got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to be more careful. I've reported about people poisoning folks, people finding poison napkins in their door handles. I'm going to report some a little later about that somebody was passing out roses. Women passing out roses to other women. You thinking this woman friendly, and there's all this white foreign substance on the road that puts you out, and now somebody throws you in a van or something, a white van, and kidnaps you. Now you wake up raped or you wake up dead. Got to be vigilant out here, man. Got to be vigilant. The Post continues to say the car was later found abandoned that day. This man was trying to run until something hit him and he came to himself and did the right thing. On August 22nd, Tavis Dunbar was arrested on 51st and Wentworth and is charged with three felony counts of first-degree murder and one felony count of first-degree attempted murder. He is due in court today for bond hearing at Cook County Criminal Court building on 26th California. I would pass that building all the time. Justice is finally served and the families can now have some type of peace. But let's continue to pray for them as they prepare to lay their loved ones to rest because their lives won't be the same anymore. Again, this is one that hit me differently because I knew all four victims. May their three souls rest in peace. Chicago, South Shore, deadly hit and run, arrest made, hashtag charges filed, hashtag Chi-Town crime chasers. Listen, I warn you, and I continue to reiterate, please be vigilant in these streets and keep your head on the swivel. All of these were very, very, very young men. And many like to say going too soon. But I'm going to tell you, sometimes folks speed up the time of the exit because they're not vigilant and grateful with their lives. 23, 25, 27, 21 absolutely should be the spark and the prime of these young men's lives. But instead, they have met their maker. At least three of them have. And one of them fighting for his life. So let us be careful out here, man. I'm out. Bad. Yeah, man. Let's be careful out here in these streets. Ain't got time to play with you. I'm up out of here. Bad.